I really thought WWE actually bought BET.
You thought Tyler Perry was gonna let that go?
Tyler Perry might end up buying WWE.
I could see it. I honestly can. Like, y'all think I'm crazy. Like the writing is the same level of quality at this moment. At least Raw. Like Raw is basically a BET plus lineup.
Yeah, who? I mean, that actually might be fire because it's like, all right. So the rumors are right now that they might get bought out, or he's trying to sell the company, being Vince. It's like, yo, who is to buy it if it's not Tyler Perry? Like, who you gonna give it to? Guy Fieri?
Hey man, Guy Fieri pull up in the red old school every week to let you know what the card is and then drive off. That'd be kind of fire.
With a big ass sandwich in his hand.
Yeah, man. And everybody got to dress like OT Genesis now.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
that's. I was gonna ask you about your IG story when you said that. I was like,
like
bro, that shit had me rolling.
because he was out here in like those black like super cut jeans. I don't know what the shoes were because I didn't see, but if he had Chucks on, but he had the black fitted shirt, a gold like chain, big link chain, and then he had a leather shirt, not a blazer, not a jacket, a leather shirt, and it was all black. And I was like, there's only one man on earth who dresses like this, and his Long Beach's own OT Genesis. So I was like, let me find out Guy Fieri and OT Genesis be kicking it. Because that'd be hilarious.
Man, blue hot sauce on my burger. No
Man,
red.
man. They should have a show. They should have a show.
OT
That's
and
the
God Fieri.
that's the new Rob&Big.
Bruh, because like that actually might work. Guy Fieri is loud like Rob was, and then you got like laid back OT. Well, OT be kind of loud too, though.
Yeah. But the way because Guy is a little more laid back in his regular life. Guy only get up for like that for food. So I was
Um,
like that and Sugar Ray. That's the only
he
two things
copied my whole fucking flow.
flow.
Like every time I get excited for food too.
Yeah. But nah, Guy Fieri and OT Genesis as a show, I need to pitch that somewhere.
You at the right place for it, but you probably got to Paramount for that.
Yeah. Nah. I need to figure that out. I gotta go to the E network or A&E or something.
So is Guy he signed to the Food Network? He indie.
I don't even know at this point. But
Didn't he
they
just let me see because I felt like he just signed some deal or something.
I'm surprised Netflix or Amazon ain't snatched him up.
Yeah, he owns a restaurant in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he got one out here too. I think it's in the valley.
Let's see. It will make sense, like, bro, if you are this crazy about food, why would you not own restaurants? Oh, he
Yeah.
got a couple of them.
Yeah, no, he got joints.
He got some
But
in Florida. He got yeah. He like, yo, you think I'm just up here cooking for fun on a TV show? Because drive-ins, because I didn't see grocery games, tournament of champions, and big bites, but we all know him from diners, drive-ins, and
and
dives, right?
dives, yeah, and he does like
Okay.
what is it, like Iron Chef and some other stuff.
Okay, so yeah, I was about to say that. Like, wasn't he doing that like in the
Yeah,
99, 2000?
yeah, because don't want to see Bobby Flay. Like Bobby Flay, yeah, go stick to your show where your whole show is dunking on people.
You talking about the little Italian man?
Yeah, the one who be bringing people on the show to be like, hey, can you cook better than me? It's like, wow, can I just like, I mean, yeah, of course I'm gonna try it out.
So that's the dude that be like boom every time he
No, that's
throw the
Emerald.
song.
That's
Okay,
Emerald.
that's what I'm saying. My guy Emerald, I used to watch him back in the 90s too. That's crazy.
Hey,
Like I used
hey, I found out women love Emerald.
yeah.
They were like attracted to that man.
I didn't know about that. I just thought
Yeah.
Joe Pesci. They used to go crazy because Joe Pesci, little cousin, used to throw that salt. Boom, he used to throw that in there.
Nah, they was really here for Emerald. Like the housewives, they wish he could have banned them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bro, that's crazy. I used to watch the Cooking Network for some reason in the 90s and the early 2000s, and then I switched to Nick.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the elders in the house watched the Food Network, and the weirdest thing was y'all didn't cook any of this stuff they was trying.
Right, and it looked fire. I'm like, man, somebody need to try this.
Yeah, like this looked great. I don't even know what half of this stuff is.
But I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, like
All right.
look, that's a new way to cook pork chops.
All right. Apparently, Guy Fieri owns over 40 restaurants.
Oh.
It makes too much sense. Like, bro, come on. Like
he Diddy and get him to the Greek. I own 26 kookaroos.
Bro, it's kind of like you got to get high your own supply, but you got to be your own supplier. Not, you know what I mean? You can't just be the dealer.
Yeah. Let me find out he the Nino Brown of the food world.
He might be, bro.
Huh. He might be.
You
I like how
a fuck about that McDonald's. Fuck that whole bitch.
I am the McDonald's. McDonald's wish they could be me. No.
This is the new car.
I like how this is a wrestling podcast and we just start talking about Guy Fieri.
Hey man, that's how you know it's not a lot going on, but there's some topics we got.
Yeah. Did he host a Raw? Should he be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because he probably look, it's some big ass, well, not compared to what it used to be back in our day when wrestlers was just swole off that shit, you know, off the gimmick. So these wrestlers now, they probably like vegans, so they probably don't eat a lot. But still, if it's me and you hosting Raw, I'm gonna hit you up like, hey, bro, how much you charge for just to flip me a burger real quick? You won't say it that way because it sounds disrespectful, like he a McDonald's worker, but you be like, hey man, let me get one of them infamous burgers, or fuck that. Let me get a coupon to your restaurant. Not a coupon, like an actual like coupon where I could eat for free. I don't know, like a voucher. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Can you slide some notes to catering? Because the eggs be dry as fuck, man. I don't know what to tell them. I've been telling them, don't put it in that fucking pot where you just steam it and keep it warm. Make that shit in person. We need an omelet, man. I've been saying that, but they don't listen to me. Maybe you can go tell them. Oh, hey, Vince, what's up?
I'm tired of eating this. I don't even know what wrestlers eat. I know they got catering, but bruh.
Like, it's wrestling catering has to be like all protein.
Yeah, it's a bunch of turkey sandwiches and shit. Like, bro, I don't want that.
Yeah, like I think sometimes they might forget they have a production crew, and the production crew is just over there like, nigga, where is the carbs? Where are the carbohydrates? I need sugar.
You don't want to buy a lot of food because, I mean, obviously they got 200 goddamn wrestlers that we actually don't see, but still, you don't want to buy that much food because, like I said, they all skinny for the most part. Like, bro, we really living in a different era compared to when we came up. We not that old, but we just remember, like, nigga, the biggest person on Raw is Bobby Lashley, and now is because they got rid of Braun Strowman is Bobby Lashley, Drew, and Sheamus. That's it.
And Omos, but he ain't even like, he just tall.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? It's like when they talk about basketball, it's the difference between a big man and a tall man.
Yeah.
Joe Embiid is a big man.
Shout out to Bomani.
Exactly. Shouts out to the legend. That's where I got that from. It's a different. Jokic is a big man. Very big man.
Porzingis?
Joe Embiid.
It's a tall man.
Yeah. There you go. Rudy Gobert. Tall man. Joe Embiid. Big man. Very big man. With very little knees. Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
With no cartilage in his knees.
Anyways, yeah, wrestling ain't going on. Ain't too much going on. But we did get some good wrestling television. Not so much in the shows, but more along the lines of, real life stuff. storytelling. Because we got the first thing we're gonna talk about is the Bret Hart A&E documentaries, because that was the season finale of this, and they really knew what they were doing because they say the best for last. The last two was Mick Foley and Bret Hart, and I still haven't watched the Mick Foley one, so we can't talk about that one just yet. But
when you get a chance to watch it, we'll talk about it next week because you already know how I feel about Mick.
yeah, no, absolutely. But Bret Hart, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. And I think people were very shocked to find out that Bret Hart, 50 Cent, same energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bret was basically like, look, everybody job rule. Everybody supreme. Like, like, let's be honest. Knock on wood. If one of his enemies had like a medical emergency today, you don't think he would post the Drago picture the way 50 did when Ross had to be rushed to the hospital?
Right.
Like, Bret Hart is not here for the people he hates. Like, we could talk about all the inspirational and the other wrestling things, but I think the most fascinating thing was Bret Hart was all about punching people out who deserve to be punched out.
Dude, like, he's still keeping the same energy. So whoever's listening, you should go ahead and also just go to in YouTube, you'll search column on YouTube, put in Bret Hart shoots. Yo, it's just one particular video that like it's called Bret Hart Buries the World. Like, bruh, the bars he had about Goldberg and Hulk Hogan. He said, hopefully I quote this accurately. He said Hulk Hogan is a 10 out of 10 body, 10 out of 10 look, 1 out of 10 worker. That shit had me rolling.
Yo, he's
like
not wrong.
When he really don't like you, he got bars. Like, you know what I mean? When he was cutting his promos, it was all right when he was a worker. I'm like, damn, you should have brought this energy when you was actually working.
Yeah. And you know the cool thing about Bret Hart talking about your work ability? What you gonna say back?
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like, bro, like, people see the thing is everybody said he's boring, etc. I understand that, but because my mindset is I like just wrestling, you know what I mean? Or I want to say I like pro wrestling. It's a distinct difference between pro wrestling and wrestling. So I like drop toe holds, all that shit. That's just me. All right.
Yeah, this is why Raven is one of your favorite ever.
I didn't say Raven,
but Raven was the king of drop toe holds.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm like. Wait a minute, promos. See, that's the thing with him. Promos on 10. His working skills,
Yeah,
they wasn't all the way there. But that's neither here nor there. But with Bret, it's kind of like, all right, he's boring. You ain't say he was bad though.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: if your favorite needed to go have a 5-star match, who you think they're gonna get? Would you rather see him with Hogan, bumping meat? Shout out to Big E, or are you gonna see it with Bret Hart? Because for all you wrestling purists who swear, you know, this and that, you know who y'all else say is boring? Randy Orton.
And he's a genius.
Yeah, like, let's keep it real. Y'all keep saying these people who are like great technicians are boring, or like great ring psychology are boring. I don't want to put him in the same category as Bret or Randy Orton, but Edge is also mentioned here. And the thing about Edge is really good at getting you to care about the match.
Yeah.
Like, as his work rate, yeah. I mean, when you next to Randy Orton and Bret Hart, of course you're going to look like second fiddle. Go do that with Cena. Same thing. But the ability to get you to care, second to none. So with Bret, like, my favorite thing about Bret was, you know, the one thing is he always like made sure his family was good, because that's something he got from his dad. Even though his dad was out there just like use wrestling training to just abuse the shit out of people. Like, niggas is out there hollering. What's that Hamtaro clip you always see dying?
The one I'll be posting consistently.
That's just people coming from the basement. You going like having breakfast in the morning. And just people down there screaming.
Yeah, like on the A&E doc that we talking about right now, yeah, that's exactly what he was saying. He like people, or I think his sister said it, whoever said it, he was people were defecating on each other or in themselves and screaming because I'm a big Stu Hart guy. He was really stretching people.
Yeah.
Like he putting you like that's some martial arts shit where he just putting you in invoking death grips and all that, and you can't get out. So that's what he was doing. That's what he was known for. And then he came from that era too. Like you know what I mean? Like that's poverty. Like you coming up in the 1920s, 30s. How was I think he was born 1915. Let me make sure. But he was coming up in the era where it's like, hey, bro, we hungry and it's snow when he was a baby and a kid. Like it's Canadian snow. Like it's cold than a motherfucker. It's cold. We ain't got no food.
It don't get much colder.
Yeah, than that. It's cold. We ain't got no food. This is that time period. Yo, because they said in the doc that the way he would find food is a little ass slingshot to kill rabbits. Like, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that for TV shows now. That was just his life. Like we do those survivalists. That's Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls go do that for entertainment. He was just doing that.
He had no choice. It's like how years ago it used to be like boxers. They used to do it out a necessity. Like, back in that time frame, like the 50s, 60s, they had to do it because it was like, bro, this is the only way I know how to really make some money is by whooping some ass.
Yeah.
It's so he basically had to go. I think they said they met he met their mother, being the Hart family mother in New York. So he was like, I got to go back and remember how he initially even got to New York if he did all that. But
yeah, no, it's very, very wild to hear Stu Hart's story, and it'd be an interesting one to do that one for him as well. But circling back to Bret, the other thing that I think is amazing about Bret that nobody talks about is his ability to just call cap on stuff. Like
it seems like everything he calls cap on.
Yeah. And 9 out of 10 times he ain't wrong. Like when the WWE was like, yeah, we're going to buy you. We're going to put all these people in there. We got something for them. And then Bret was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Don't bullshit me. No, you don't. And then he got there and he was like, oh, we really don't. And then he built the Hart Foundation, which I think the most shocking thing from that was to learn that he didn't like pink. Jim Neidhart liked pink. Bret can't stand pink.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Jim Neidhart. He liked that white, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you the video later. I don't want to talk about nobody's dead, but, the 80s.
That's neither here nor there. But, I mean, Bret was getting over, like, he was calling himself the best technical wrestler, and motherfuckers was like, well, I mean, he is.
The nigga's kind of right.
Yeah. What are we supposed to say? They was loving him in the tag team, and Vince was like, yo, they really rock with you. You going solo. And he said something that I really appreciate that I really hope we get back to, which was, he's like, the Intercontinental title was the title for the best technical wrestler in the business. It was for the workhorse. It was for the dude that went out there and killed himself every night in, night out. Mm-hmm. And Bret Hart was that dude. Because, like, I think, okay, this is when WWE used to build people through tag teams, through the mid card, and then by the time you got to the main card, people already loved you. Go count how many workers who have held all those different titles have classics for all those different titles. And I don't mean like matches you like legit of this era, this is one of the best matches. Because Bret got, like, I don't know about tag team matches, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure he had some like great tag team matches. It's just his singles run was so amazing that it just dwarfed everything he did in the tag team division. I think people forget that he was a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first when they started counting it, right?
Yeah, and he was like the Triple Crown Grand Slam champion. And then he gets to the mid card and he's having matches with Mr. Perfect and Roddy Piper and all these great technical wrestlers. And he is looking like the best wrestler. Even in these matches, like against Mr. Perfect, you look like the best wrestler ever.
Right, which is hard to outwork him. You know, he's on that list like him and Owen Hart as well, who, you know, and that's crazy to think about too. Like going on that, it's like Owen Hart on any given day, he was probably better than Bret, just depending on what you needed. Because you know, Owen could do wrestling and he could do pro wrestling.
Yes, and Owen was one of the early adopters of working above the ropes too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that he had. Like when you look at Owen Hart, you can draw a line from Owen Hart to Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Like if you want to talk about, like, I know we talk about like Shawn Michaels and all these other people that, you know, like draw comparisons to Daniel Bryan. Go back and watch some Owen Hart matches and you realize, yo, there's a lot there. Whether it was directly or indirectly, like the body type, the work rate, the ability to not be like the biggest high flyer, but able to do some stuff off the top rope, just the speed that they were able to work. Owen Hart and Daniel Bryan are like really great parallels.
Yeah, and then you also hear the stories about how easy it is to work with Owen Hart. That's what makes you a great worker. Like with Bret, if you could work with him, you could work with anybody. That's the whole point. It's just like being a point guard in the NBA. Like, bro, if you can get me right to where I need to be at, we'll win.
Yeah,
that's what makes you a great point guard. And in the case of Bret, you know, if you can't work with him, like Goldberg, I mean, you know, I think we'll talk about him as it relates to this documentary too. And then also, like I said, I think people should listen to the Shoot interview when he talks about Goldberg and how Kurt Hennig, going back to him, Mr. Perfect, and damn, I lost his name. But yeah, when they talk about another worker as well, and they just talk about how stiff Goldberg is as a worker, like, man, you slamming me on my damn head, or you damn near broke my neck.
Yeah, so in the case,
so in the case of Owen Hart, it's like D'Lo Brown has a great story about how Owen Hart, like, he was nervous to work because I think this is one of his first matches in WWE. He was like, he was nervous to work, and then he tells the story about how Owen Hart basically just got him through the match by just pranking him, untying his shoes during the match to have him focus on the shoes. Like, but he didn't know his shoes kept becoming untied, and he was like, "What's going on?" And he told him, and then after each lockup, Owen Hart was like, "All right, now you ready to work? You loose? You ready to work now?"
Oh, I didn't know that. I've never heard that story.
I'll send it to you. But that's the true art of being a great worker. You know what I mean? It's just, even if you green, if you are blessed enough to work with a vet like that, like a Bret or an Owen in that time frame, they would get you to where you need to go. All right. So in the case of Vader, like when I tell people, you know, the whole Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart thing, I do it as a work, so to speak. But at the same time, I understand that, yeah, Shawn Michaels is great, but he ain't better than Bret in my eye. But when I think about how, you know, Shawn Michaels is out here, him allegedly, and him and the whole clique try to get Vader up out of here, Leon White up out of here, and in WWF at the time. But then I'm watching matches with Bret Hart working with Vader. It's not a problem.
No.
So it's one of the, and then also too, real quick before I'll let you go ahead. So on that Shoot interview, Bret goes and talks about Dean Malenko. I feel like this wasn't fair, but I understand what he means. But I don't think this was kind of uncalled for on this instance. I don't know if they got heat or the reason for this. I feel like it's not fair to Dean Malenko. But You said Dean Malenko, great worker, couldn't draw a dollar. I'm like, bro, that was kind of unnecessary, but maybe they got to smoke with each other.
Hey, man, he might be a Lance Storm guy for all we know.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, probably so, because he throwing through Canadian, so.
Yeah, so you might just be like, I mean, you might be looking at Dean Malenko like, yeah, he cool, but Jericho better. Yeah, he cool, but Lance Storm better.
The man of 1,004 holds.
Armbar. Nah, but nah. The main thing, you make a great point. That D'Lo story is a great story because that seems like something both he and Bret share. Because this is the most famous story in the world, but you know, SummerSlam '92 when it's in London, they had the match all planned out. Bulldog shows up, a little not prepared to work, is what we'll say, just to be kind.
I gotta see that clip when they talk about that on some podcast.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith was he had some comments about that. Not necessarily, but it was about someone else that parallels Bulldog.
Mr. Hitman, I'm fucked.
Yeah, but let's say, Bulldog just showed up not ready to work, and he had forgotten the whole match. And Bret called the main event, which was like a 40-minute match, live in front of people. And people regard that as one of the best matches of all time. And he did that on the fly.
Real quick. So it's not a problem to do that. I think people have this thing where they think if you call a match on the fly, it's bad because a lot of lazy people, Hulk Hogan, a lot of lazy workers tend to do that in some instances and just call stuff on the fly. If you that good, you can do that. If the person has, like, if you done house shows numerous times with this person, or if you work together, you can do that.
And if you're able, like, there's certain people that are just able to tap into the crowd and understand what the crowd wants to see. Like Bret Hart was very good at that. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Rock, Cena, like these guys are really, really good at calling matches on the fly because these are people who are listening to the audience as they work.
Yeah, because it's a compilation. I know Botchamania used to do it a lot too, where they used to do the segment "You Talk Too Much" and then it'll be John Cena just talking, but you can hear it. That's not. It's bad because you want to keep the kayfabe up, even though kayfabe, our podcast is called Kayfabe Ain't Dead, but in actuality, in wrestling, kayfabe is kind of dead. But still, we ain't changing the name. But in the instance you want to keep up the kayfabe that this isn't a work and this is real. But bruh, we watch basketball, football, baseball. Well, I watch baseball. We watch sports, even though I think pro wrestling is a sport. They call out shit all the time.
Yeah, like basketball, they call out the play and they don't even try and hide it.
Right, it's just what you gonna do on the pick and roll.
Yeah,
it's up to you to figure out what to do.
Yeah. And one of the things is I understand if you're sitting fairly close and you hear it, it might take you out. But if you are watching it from television and you are listening for that, you are clearly not into the match. So the best thing you might want to do is just not watch the match or just admit that you're not into it and that's what's bothering you. Like, because that'll alleviate it for you somewhat. Mm-hmm. So that's all I could say. But, I ain't even really too mad about anything when it comes to people calling out matches like that. Because, I mean, hey, I can't suplex someone on a whim. I can't power slam someone on a whim.
Right. It's speaking, like I said, I'll send you the video. But, yeah, basically they do the perfect impersonation of everything. But like you said, a 40-minute match. And they just call it on the fly. He just calling out everything the British Bulldog, like, hey, do this, do that. Yeah. Because he all, what I mean? He on that medicine.
Yeah. So I'm with it. I ain't mad at it. It's it's what it is. You know, we getting a Doja Cat album. I just saw that. Anyways,
I need it.
yeah, this is June 25th, so Isaiah Rashad better drop on the 18th. That's the only chance you got.
It won't. They gonna knowing them. They gonna have him drop the same day as Doja Cat.
Yeah. They didn't even she didn't even put you know how hard a flex this is? She didn't even put best friend on it. But
There's no need to.
she got some features. She got Young Thug, Ariana, Weekend. She got Jid and SZA.
Yo, who is she signed to get these type of features? I thought she was indie.
I don't know. I thought she was like with RCA or something like that.
Okay, it all made sense. I'm like, yo, you got a budget. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you hear Ariana Grande, you're like, you got a budget.
But yeah, nah. Doja Cat is great for her references and she is like an art nerd who has great pop sensibilities and great references. And when we talk about references, I'm gonna bull that back to Bret Hart because one of the great things about that doc too was Bret Hart is credited a lot with being like the guy who really helped at least for like guys like McIntyre of that generation, I'm guessing, helped understand in-ring storytelling, in-ring psychology, and really trying to get like it's not necessarily about just doing moves, it's getting the audience invested in. And I appreciate that. And that's something that. Now the last thing we gotta talk about is how, you know, how Bret Hart was out there in the streets with Big Sean and all his cousins dapping him up.
That was hilarious. I felt like I've seen that video years ago.
Like man pulled up in a limo, no security, and was just out there. The OGs was loving him. The kids was loving him. Everybody. Everybody was just going to love. He was letting the kids wear the belt. He was taking photos. He was out there in the jeans and the leather jacket. And he was just chilling. Just chilling.
Shawn Michaels didn't let he definitely wouldn't let no black kids do that.
Scott Hall though. Scott Hall. Remember Scott Hall was out there like in Kansas City or somewhere, just out there chilling.
When did that happen? I remember the music he came out to. Didn't he come out ECW to No Limit or something like that? No, yes. West Side Connection.
Yeah. Like him and Kevin Nash are some different dudes. Because Kevin Nash, you got to watch out. He'll show up to the cookout and take your mama.
Oh yeah. No, he from Detroit too. What Stevie Ray said, he know a lot about R&B. I'm like, bro, how you know that?
Yeah, like, okay. You ain't the Michael P.S. Hayes R&B lover. You the like play some Gerald Levert and watch him start singing. You'd be like, wait, what?
Wait, you think what R&B Michael P.S. Hayes listening to?
I don't know, probably from the 40s.
He definitely dropping an bomb if you listen to the 40s R&B.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Cab Calloway, but a white man that love Cab Calloway and don't like Stevie Wonder, can't trust him.
You can't trust anybody that don't like Stevie Wonder.
No, absolutely not. No, but yeah. But nah, piggybacking off of that, you know, we got through the Bret Hart stuff was great. There was another show about another wrestler. And while the Bret Hart one had some troubling times and some rough moments, this one was just sad all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one. I mean, they talked about is real. What was it called? Like Surviving Grizzly Smith?
Was it called Surviving
or something like that? Like,
let me look it up.
It was an episode that was, and it was reference to Grizzly Smith. And for those who don't know who Grizzly Smith's father, he is the father to one Aurelian Smith, who is better known as Jake the Snake Roberts. And yeah, Grizzly Smith was a wrestler. Jake the Snake was a wrestler. His two brothers were wrestlers. His sister was a wrestler. Whole family was working. Problem is, they had a rough life, man. Like it's no other way to say that. All the abuse, all the all the just tough things they went through, traumatic things. Like me and my brother and my wife was watching it, and my brother just kept saying, like, yeah, I don't know how he's still alive.
Bro, that's the same thing I said to you before we came on air. Like
Like,
it's crazy to think he outlived a lot of people he worked with. Like I'm very surprised he's still here, and I don't know if that's evil to say, but you think about everything he's been through in his life and his drug addiction, etc., and to still be here when all his like we talked about Harry Smith. Harry Smith died at 39.
yeah,
Like Jake is 65 years old, bro.
yeah,
Shouts out to DDP too. I was about to say DTP.
yeah.
Like
Shout out to Lil Fate. Like,
Lil
why?
Fate helped him. I-20 definitely helped him out. No, shouts out to DDP. I gotta watch that documentary again. I love that documentary.
Yeah, nah, but yeah, he helped Jake Snake. He helped Scott Hall, and I think one of the things that was like, so at one point it was, it's partially an episode about wrestling, but it was more an episode about abuse and trauma and the lasting effects on that. Because the thing that I thought was, and I think most people probably got, was when Jake was talking about the difference between Jake and Aurelian. He was like, Jake is who I'm comfortable being. That's who I am most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Aurelian is, still a boy. He hasn't really grown since he's 12 or 13. He kind of stopped there. Like you said, that man is 66 years old. So to say, like, hey, 43 years ago was the last time my government name, the person who I thought was my true self, had a chance to be themselves comfortably. He had to jump into the character of Jake and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, Jake wasn't good for him either. Because he said that too. He's like, Jake is fine so long as you have him restrained. He's like, I'm serious. He's like, you can't just let him go out there and do that. Like, and that's traumatic enough when you got to talk about yourself and like compartmentalize in that way. But
Well, you could tell because it came off a lot in his promos. It's just like being an actor. Essentially that's what he was doing. He was cutting promos like, he was doing a monologue. He could have been a hell of an actor.
yeah.
But you could tell it's two totally different people. And you know how they say that basically in wrestling, your personality is you turned to 10, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think with him it's the opposite, kind of. So it's something in there that's just it's him more so the maniacal part, and that probably comes from his upbringing. But you could just tell over the past couple of years, especially with the DDP documentary or what they did during that documentary, and how it just showed, what I mean? Like he's a, and it's not to denigrate him as a person because we all human beings, but you could just tell like he just is a scared man. Like not scared, man. I won't say that, but you could just tell, man, like life has messed him up so bad that he couldn't see a other way around, so to speak. What I
Yeah.
mean? Past the drug, and the drugs were a way for him to cope. Like the fact DDP did that, man, like that's he's honorable for that.
Yeah. Him and Scott Hall. Like, he got
Yeah.
both of them out of there, out of rough spots. And
At the
we
same
talked,
time, too.
yeah. Like, and that was the thing I thought was like shocking is like, so the thing I thought about when I was watching this is I thought about the Tina Turner documentary that came out a month or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she said about the documentary that she didn't say in there was like, it was not a wonderful life. It was hard. It was painful. The good times did not outweigh the bad. And I really thought about that because we paint a lot of these stories as inspirational and as motivating, as uplifting. And one of the things I always wonder is how do they really feel about it? Because the way that was framed was like even at the end, like for Dark Side of the Ring, it was such a heavy thing that they had to get out of this. Like, we got to have some light at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Jake talks about like, yeah, it's just been like look, he's been sober for 10 years. So the last 10,
which is crazy because he's 65.
yeah. So the last 10 years of his life, I don't even want to say have been like the happiest or best, but it's been probably the most manageable, the most coherent, like the clearest he's had. But I think about that a lot as like, man, like, are we certain? Like, we use a lot of these stories, these horror stories with people who come out through the other side, and we say that's an inspiration. That's a way for us to keep going. I always wondered, how do they really feel about this? Do they find themselves inspiring? Do they really this and that? I'm sure they would want people to get out of bad situations. I don't think that's what I don't think they would say, yeah, stay in that bad situation. But their feelings about their own life, I don't know if it feels like how we feel, which is like, this is great, this is terrific. It's like, yo, man, he has 10 years he remembers clearly. That he clearly remembers.
Yeah, because he said before he's used the drugs. I mean, like most people, to cope with their reality. You try to run from you, but you is you everywhere. So you can't run too far. So in this instance, it's just kind of like, maybe it's a moment of clarity now for the past 10 years about life overall, and how it's just like, all right, I'm here just to deal with it, because it's just like, once again, he didn't die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know how much he was using, but still, once again, it goes back to what we were talking about off air. A lot of these people that died, steroids and probably red meat. Steroids and red meat and bad dieting, because red meat, because you're on the road so much. So you're gonna go get you a cheeseburger. You're gonna take these steroids to help your body recover, and you working out 4 hours a day.
And you need the pain to go away right now. So now we're gonna throw in some alcohol. We're gonna throw in some painkillers, and you a time bomb, man.
Yeah, your heart is like, hey, big fella, any moment, big fella. Whereas with him, he didn't do no steroids, but he was doing everything else we named.
Yeah,
and he was getting busy on the road too, and that's before condoms was a thing, because he got a couple kids.
Oh no, condoms was the thing. He just didn't care. Jake was out here looking for the bitches. He didn't worry about the roids, because he's like 6'5", and he was like a natural 230. He was already big.
It was a lot of guys like that, but they were still trying to get cut swole, if that makes sense.
But he didn't come up through bodybuilding and things like that. Like, he wasn't.
It goes back, not to cut you off, I apologize, but it goes back to what Bret Hart was saying in this whole shoot interview compilation. He was like, bodybuilding ain't a sport, and just like being a runway model, like, what does that mean for you if you're in pro wrestling? You know what I mean? It goes to that, because you know what I mean, you hear like the Iron Sheiks and you hear everybody else talk about these bodybuilders that got into wrestling and they get put over, but they can't work, like the Ultimate Warriors, like the Hulk Hogan's.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can't even really say that about Sting, because Sting, he was a physique dude, but he was a wrestling nerd. Like, that's what he was about.
Yeah, he actually, I mean, that's when they was up here getting on Ultimate Warrior on that last Dark Side of the Ring. Jim Cornette said it too. He was like, at least Sting wanted to learn. That was the main thing. Like, he was a bodybuilder, but at least he wanted to actually learn, and he did get better. Whereas Ultimate Warrior, just, you know what I mean? It goes without saying. I don't need to say nothing else about him. But
yeah. And even with Sting, there was like, at a certain point, he was like, okay, I can lose some of this muscle. I don't need all of this.
Thank you. You said the same thing I was about to say. He then went down. It's like, bro, I don't need to be walking around 260 right now. Like, let me get down to about 250, 240, 230, somewhere around there. That's straight. I don't need to be all that swole. And it showed.
Yeah. But, I mean, all I can say is, like, those rough lives, man. Like, even when you think about Bret, like, there was a pocket for him. Like, you know, he gets his head kicked off by Goldberg, and he's almost like his career is over. To a dude who can't work, like legitimately, like a dude who can't work. And then, you know, his brother dies, and now his health is declining. His father is dying. His mother is dying. You know, he still has these feuds all over here. You know, he's getting calls to come back and work with Vince and do all these other things. Vince is like wants to honor him and all these other things. And when it comes time to honor him, like he just doesn't want to show up for things, and he doesn't this and that. And then when he decides to come back, because now his niece is in the business, is out here working. His nephew-in-law is out here working. Davy Boy is out here working. So his other nephew is out here working. You know, now he has to figure these things out. And now there's the pressure of, okay, you got to forgive Sean. And to his credit, it seems like he actually forgives Sean. Because of all the people, when he talks about and he takes shots at, he don't ever say nothing too bad about Sean, because it seemed like Sean did a lot of apologizing. Because to be fair to Shawn Michaels, when he came back and he got himself clean and got himself right, he did do a lot of apologizing to people that he had wronged in the past. I don't know if he did it to everybody, but a lot of people, and he'll admit this himself, he's like, I was a terrible person.
Absolutely.
But
it's all about accountability, man.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I'll say to finish up these episodes is I just hope for their remaining years, Bret and Jake have some happiness. It looks like Bret has had some with his family and his wife, and just being able to talk to people about wrestling. I hope Jake has gotten it.
Everybody else, he said, fuck you too. He keeping that same energy. No, it's fuck you today and tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's the 50 Cent energy is still there. It's weird to find out the Hart Foundation was the original G Unit, but you know, it's but with Jake especially, man, like I know he's working over there in AEW. He looks like he's having a good time. So I just, you know, hope they get some happiness in their last years, because they ain't young men no more. So however much time they got left, you know, I just hope it's a good time.
Hey, I got a transition for us. Are we done on this topic?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we add AOP to this list? As far as workers being let go from WWE and they really don't have anything to say, because this culminates with the dirt sheets. Hey, bruh, I block a lot of accounts. I said this to my brother before we came on air. So the accounts that I do block, for the most part, is just be jokes, because I always post it. It's hilarious. But some of these people, I just block because I really don't like you. TJP, I got you blocked for a reason. I don't know if you'll ever hear this, and I don't give a fuck. But it's a lot of people I got blocked. Mostly it's wrestling accounts. I got a new rule. Every time a dirt sheet say something about they lying on a wrestler name and a wrestler come out and say, no, this isn't true, or a right source says it's not true, I'm blocking you. In the case of these people, whoever, I'm going to find your account and block you that said AOP is done. And the guy from AOP just came out and said, ain't done yet, bitches. Because it was rumored a couple hours ago that AOP was done wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got to take this time before we get too heavy into this subject. We got to take this time to send nothing but love and well wishes to Leo Rush, who apparently at this moment, and for what it seems, is done with wrestling after injuring himself at Double or Nothing. Real unfortunate injury, man, but I'm glad it got him this time to reflect. And if nothing else, I'm glad that his last appearance was in front of a crowd and they popped heavy for him.
Absolutely.
Like, so whatever he wants to do, like we was joking that he should get on iCarly season 2 remake.
He should.
But yo, man, I would love to see him in some sitcoms, because he got that personality, and he a little man. Little men are always funny in sitcoms.
He bought 5'5", little swole, little muscle, little Nate Robinson. He especially got the voice. He need to do some cartoons. Man,
And he can
go
do his
get
own
that money.
stunts.
Bruh, go get that money. He just did the motion capture for WWE 2K22. Go get that money, bruh. Like, yo,
That's wild. WWE was like, we got to let you go because of budget. But hey, come back because you so cold. You got to start doing all our move sets for everyone.
bruh, go ahead, and get that money, bruh. Like,
Yeah.
cause you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
You don't need pro wrestling. Like you
Yeah.
don't need pro wrestling. You straight. You know what I mean? You got your mentals in order. You only 25 years old, which is crazy to say, but hey, it's a physical sport.
It is. You got the family, seem to be happy. Whatever you do, man, we rooting for you.
You live in LA, so obviously, you know what I mean, not counting this man pockets, but he's straight. If you live in LA.
Yeah. And moving on to that, so when we get back to AOP, well, essentially what we're talking about in the dirt sheets, I mean, the other thing I heard with the dirt sheets is there was rumoring today that Brock Lesnar not going to be there for SummerSlam, and I was seeing this on What Culture, and What Culture had the same reaction that I had. It was like, it is June 9th. Vince ain't thinking about SummerSlam right now. Vince just trying to get through today. Yeah, come on, are we really sitting here pretending like things don't change? Things change all the time.
They change it right now.
Yeah, it don't make no sense to report on any of that stuff. It made no sense.
You know how Vince moved with his booking decisions? What I feel like doing today. Yeah. All right, bet. Oh, I feel like having Aleister Black kick the hell out of Big E, bet. And then let him go tomorrow. For sure. That's what I'm going to do.
The other thing is, I forgot someone who said this, was basically like, yo, Vince gets very hangry because supposedly that's the reason Tyler Breeze never got over. It's because Vince was hungry. He was irritable. Tyler Breeze accidentally bumped into him and said, I'm sorry. And Vince was like, bury him.
Who said that bullshit?
I don't know. But
how they know?
It might have been a worker who was standing there talking to Vince. But the funniest thing is,
what worker?
Does that sound like not plausible when it comes to Vince at this moment?
Actually, it does. You know why? Yeah. Because remember when Titus O'Neil bumped into him just to show him love and he got suspended? All right, I kind of believe it now.
Yeah. So it's like it sounds crazy, but it's like, I mean, you know, like sometimes you just notice hangry behavior. But what we want to get into is the thing everybody want to get into, which is, let's talk about Aleister Black and Carl Anderson's responses to being fired from WWE. Now, Aleister Black has been very kind. He's been very gracious because that's just seems like the type of man that he is. He is where isn't he from, like Sweden or Amsterdam or something like that?
Amsterdam.
Yeah. European man, very kind. He's always seemed like a very gracious man every time I've seen him on Up, Up, Down, Down. You don't really hear too many stories about him being a jerk backstage or rubbing people the wrong way. Seems like a decent dude. So he's been very, kind. And people have gone on like, hey, man, you ain't got to defend WWE like this. You ain't got to defend WWE like this. And he was like, I'm not defending them. This is how I really feel. There's some argument to like, hey, WWE didn't really treat you properly. Yeah, we all know that. I think he knows that. Mm-hmm. Like it's not, how I put this. Just think of someone who you think isn't as good as Aleister Black that's in WWE or was in WWE at the same time as him. Outside of Elias, any person you're thinking of has had more success on the main roster than him.
Right.
So, it's not hard. Like, someone brought up the point that he was undefeated for a year and then he just lost on a random old Raw, and then he was off TV for a while. True, they didn't have much for him, and then when they got something for him, budget cuts, or so we say. We don't really know, but that's what they're telling us. So the dirt sheets is in a weird spot because they don't know, but also when it comes to WWE, we don't know what they're telling us. We don't know if that's true.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a conglomerate now, multi-billion-dollar company, probably about to be sold to a multi-billion-dollar entertainment company. Like, bro, how you know? And then it's like, that's why I'll be asking people about certain things in life these days. That's what I've been doing for the past year. Yeah, this and this and this. How you know?
Yeah.
And what it matter? Like when people used to ask, you think the earth is flat? Well, how you know? And why do you care? What you gonna do? Jump?
The earth is flat. Okay. All right. Move on. Let's move on. Like, come on. Like, I ain't about to sit here and entertain everything. But so that was Alex.
I'm sorry, brother. Real quick. That's essentially what these dirt sheets trying to do. Like, I know y'all not getting paid off this bullshit. You can't. You simply cannot get paid off this. Being a reporter of it's like, all right, bro. They get paid in TMZ to be nosy. All right, these people get paid for this. You just saying this shit just because you want a fantasy book. That's essentially what these dirt sheets are. They fantasy booking like this WWE 2K21. You creating players, you creating situations. All right, bet WWE Universe on the game. Cool, bro. Like,
hey,
why you want everybody to be mad at me? Why you want everybody to be mad at Vince? Like, bro, you know he ain't the only person, right? He called the shots. He make the final decision, but he ain't the main. He's not like the person who make all the decisions. Like, they think this dude cleans up. He get people wardrobe together. Yes, he makes the final decision, but you got to go through all these producers. You got to go through Bruce Pritchard and all that for these decisions. Yeah. And then why you want to be mad? Like, if the man's saying, I didn't have a bad time, they straight. Maybe he's saving face too because his wife was at the PC. Maybe she coming back. So you can't be out here like fuck them all the way. And then if he seems like if you a person of class, if you have some type of heart, if it's something you didn't fuck with, you'll say blatantly, man, that shit was trash. You know how many jobs I quit and I buried them?
Yeah.
And lied on my resume?
Which brings us to Carl Anderson. So, if people hated Aleister Black being kind, the pendulum was the other way for the hatred when Carl Anderson said, I'm just going to read it. Because when they asked him about it, his response was this: we know what it's like to get canned from WWE. Here's the advice I would say. Enough of the thank you tweets. Give me a fucking break. When you get canned, let it go. How about hashtag fuck off? I don't think less than 24 hours after being fired, take a second, and there's ellipses, take a second to take a breather. Take it easy with the thank you bullshit within 24 hours. Breathe it in, take it all in for 1 second, put together a plan of attack before you start thanking all these motherfuckers that fired you, because people give Jim Ross a lot of heat, but I have respect for Jim Ross because when we got canned, he said there's a reason why WWE decided not to do business with these individuals anymore. It's as true as it can get, and thank God. We made the most money we've ever made in our lives this past year, and that's after WWE. So, two very different sides of approaches to their release to WWE. And the thing is, they're both right. That's my take on it. Like, what Aleister Black is doing, what Carl Anderson is doing, if you somewhere in the middle, hey man, you are absolutely right within your rights to talk about your job that you just lost, however the way you want to talk about the job you just lost. Because I didn't lose that job. They did.
Right.
So, like, I can get Carl Anderson coming off as annoying because Carl Anderson seems like an annoying guy. So this might be just a messenger versus message thing. But Carl Anderson saying, hey, you ain't got to be thankful. You damn right. They didn't do you a favor. They signed you because they liked you. This was a mutually beneficial thing. So you got to sit here and pretend like, oh man, they really took this on me. They took a chance on me. You took a chance on them. Everybody know what it's like over there. We didn't heard the stories. People know what it's like behind the scenes. We've seen some of the things that have happened. We've heard some of the things that's happened. Not all of that's true, but some of it is.
You know what you signed up for. It's like with any job you go to. Yeah, they're gonna pay you X amount of money, but you know what you signed up for. It's the same thing that's been happening. I hate when people surprised by something that's been going on for years. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves in life. Like if you surprised by a certain action, a certain thing that's happening, and it's been happening for 30 plus years, like bro, you can't change what is already meant to be. Or what is already is. Like you can't change it. So you understand people have been burying that company every time they leave for the most part. Like Aleister Black, him saying that was a sign of relief because it's like, damn, bro, like finally somebody said something because we get every story. And it's not to say like, you know what I mean? Like these people aren't wrong when they say, man, fuck them and we didn't get treated right. But it seemed like everybody leave and they just get real privilege. Well, you see the people that leave for the most part. They just leave and they feel real privileged. And for the most part, they're not that good anyway. What's this? Zack Ryder out here showing up at GCW, jumping around saying something about WWE every chance he get. Bro, you was trash. Say that. Trash.
I would gladly have Zack Ryder back and replace him with Jackson Riker because they gave Jackson Riker a haircut and he just looked like a swole Zack Ryder now. Or not even swole, just a veiny Zack Ryder.
Yeah, the dirt sheet said that apparently he's getting a push for a baby face, and it's like we kind of already know that. Yeah, but guess what? It ain't gonna work when the crowds come. Maybe they see the thing is sometimes I feel like the shit they do it on purpose in a way to bury you or to get you over. Sometimes it's actually a plan. Sometimes I use that term loosely. All this that's going on with the best thing in pro wrestling right now being Roman Reigns, this is thought out. You can't make this now. This shit you can't make up on the fly.
No,
there's some TV type shit that'd be going on.
It's very good. Now, the one thing I will say is there's clearly a plan for Roman Reigns, and they are executing it. You know who there was also a plan for? Lana.
They had a plan for her.
They had a plan, and all of a sudden, it just poof and disappeared. So sometimes, and that's how WWE is. That's how wrestling is, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they just move off of it. Like I remember in AEW when Brandy and Awesome Kong was out here scalping white women, and they just like the crowd wasn't responding to it, so they just moved off of it. Which I felt like they should have kept going because they should have let these women know you ain't got the good hair, we got the good hair.
Exactly. Yeah, they let her go too, but I don't know. I think she just on to do something else because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Shout out to Torrance Legend, by the way. But yeah, she seems to every company is just like it's always something. Maybe she just don't like. I'm gonna take her side. Maybe it's just she don't like dealing with the bullshit. But I didn't hear her. You know what? Too, I don't really hear the women say anything bad when they get let go from the company.
No,
they just like thank you. I miss my friends. Ruby Riott said I'm gonna miss my friends. Like that's the response for the most part.
Yeah, the one who got done the dirtiest and who wasn't quiet about it was Mickie James because Mickie, it didn't even seem like the most personal thing she was annoyed by was the trash bag thing, which is disrespectful as shit.
Yeah.
But the thing I think she was more annoyed by was the fact that they just weren't taking any woman on the card fairly seriously. Like if your name wasn't one of the top names, they didn't take you seriously. And I think that was her big gripe, which was like, she was more about like, look, it ain't necessarily got to be me, but you got to get some new women over. And they was just like, nah.
Yeah, and that's where the idea came from the Women's Evolution 2 pay-per-view. And a lot of people think that's the main focal point. I don't think that was the main focal point of her getting fired. It was the main thing of, like you just said, now y'all might want to put some other women up here. Because you got a lot of them, but you keep going with the same 4 or 5, which I agree with, even though they're great. But you can switch the shit up and have Lacey Evans at catering because nobody want to see that shit.
Yeah, and to WWE's credit, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair are the champions right now. No disrespect to that. However, who are their first rivalries?
Well, Bianca is Bailey, and they ran that back 3 times.
And I don't have no disrespect for that because, hey, man, at Backlash, they had probably the second best match of the night, if not the match of the night.
Yeah, because that triple threat was fire, and that's his last match in WWE, and that was low key his best match, which is crazy.
And it's no disrespect to Bailey, it's no disrespect to Bianca, it's no disrespect to Charlotte or Rhea. And I understand this is the first rivalry because you need someone established to help the young person get over. But we're already looking at Bianca running it back with Sasha, which is good. What happens after that? What's next?
They flipped the coin.
Yeah, who's next? Are we calling up people? Are we going to let this thing with Carmella go through? Because that Bianca versus Carmella could be a good one-off pay-per-view rivalry. Who's winning Money in the Bank? Is it Charlotte? Is it Asuka? Is it Bailey? Is it Sasha? Is it Shayna? Is it Alexa? Like, who's winning? Because almost everyone I named has been a former champion and already has a Hall of Fame career for the most part. Like Bailey, Hall of Famer. Charlotte, Hall of Famer. Sasha, Hall of Famer. Alexa, Hall of Famer. They've been killing it for the last half a decade plus. So what Mickey was saying was like, hey, I'm already a Hall of Famer, but we got to do something more than just the championship picture with the women. Like we need, I don't love the Shayna Alexa stuff, but hey, if it's going to lead to a rivalry that does not center around a title, I'm fine with that because we don't get a lot of those in women's wrestling when it comes to the main promotions. Like WWE is guilty of it, AEW is guilty of it, Impact is guilty of it, and you got two of the smaller ones, Ring of Honor and NWA, trying to push forth women, trying to get new women there. Because the big thing now, what it looks like Evolution and the women's Evolution it was just to make AJ Lee look like she was tripping. And now it don't look like she was tripping. It looked like she was right. But to get back to the Carl Anderson, Aleister Black thing is, yeah, I don't understand if anyone's mad that the business is the way that it is. Like, I think the one person that got released from WWE that has a legit gripe was Rusev because that man was over and they just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was selling more shirts than everybody at a certain point for months on end, and they just didn't care. The crowd was popping for him. Even when he was injured and he came back, they popped for him. And they just didn't care at all. So it makes sense. Like, I don't know if he necessarily got released. He just didn't re-sign.
Yeah.
And I can't blame him because he was like, look, if I ain't going nowhere when I'm popping, why I got to re-sign to get a push? Why is that the incentive to get a push? I'm good.
Right.
Yeah. So you are right. Like, you know what it is. You can't be surprised by what it is because you know what the business is. You know how this man gets down. So you can, when you get released, you can be gracious. Or you can say, fuck that job. Because who all of us have not lost a job that wasn't great, but wasn't bad and didn't respond, man, fuck that job.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's just it's a double spectrum of it. You got people that really enjoy their job and they get let go and they like, damn, I wish it would have went longer, but it is what it is. And then Carl Anderson like, man, fuck that job. I don't give a fuck about none of that. That pay was straight, but I'm getting more now. So it's one of them things.
Yeah. And to be fair, when he got released, he didn't go on this big rant either. Like I don't remember too much about him complaining about his time in WWE. I think he was just looking at it like y'all all don't really feel this way. Some of y'all are madder than what you're saying, and it's okay to be mad.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. It's just however you felt at that moment, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Everybody had different experiences with the company before. You feel me?
Yeah. But you know, that yeah, I just found it funny that, you know, Aleister Black was being thankful for his time in WWE, and everyone's like, "Give me a fucking break." And then Carl Anderson was like, "Y'all don't have to pretend like y'all loved it if y'all really hated being let go." And everybody's like, "Give me a fucking break." And I was just like, they both have a point. You can be thankful, or you can be like, "That was some bullshit." And hey, man, you ain't wrong because, like I said, anyone who out here who complaining about you being thankful for your time at a job or being mad about being let go from a job, they ain't the ones that lost that job.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, what's the next topic?
Fuck that job if you don't like it. New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion.
Is this the shortest New Japan pay-per-view event you've ever watched?
Absolutely. It was only 3.5 hours. And it flew by, bruh. I literally said, yo, we actually are finishing under 5 hours? Let's go, bruh.
Turn it up. I feel you. Like, it was a great way to start off because we had Hiromu lead us in, and he always comes out with the killer fits. I call him the Playboy Cardi of wrestling.
Yeah. He's definitely vamp life.
Yeah, he had the fit on. He had the blazer with the sunflowers going down the spine. I was feeling that. I was digging that. But the match card, like, honestly, there's only like 2 matches I was really interested in. Like, you had the Bullet Club versus Chaos, and that was cool. Bullet Club ended up winning. That was dope. You had LIJ versus Suzuki Gun in a 6-man. That was fine. That was just there to set up a tag team match between Sonata and Naito and Zack Sabre and Tai Chi. I get it. You had Desperado versus Yo. And does anybody lose more than Roppongi 3K? Like, I feel like they are the most over jobbers in all of wrestling.
Yeah, like, the thing is with New Japan, they pro wrestling. So it's like, all right, we'll keep it pro wrestling, which is fine.
Yeah. And that's cool. That's very cool. But nah, I mean, you had the Jeff Cobb Kota Ibushi match, which Jeff Cobb is getting better at wrestling in New Japan. I think he's starting to figure it out.
Oh, we can stay healthy because you know what, when New Japan, like I said, I think we talked about this yesterday. Ain't no staying healthy. You just kind of go through it. You just feel the pain. There's no way you healthy and you do a 6-hour pay-per-view every day.
No. And which brings us to the main event, which was a singles match between Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada for the vacant IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, because Will Ospreay had to drop the title due to neck problems, which he's had neck problems before. So I was like, man, hope you good. There's rumors about him being in NXT UK, but once again, dirt sheets. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Exactly. And I'm not going to, what culture ain't talking about it?
Yeah. Like, why would the dude who is the champion in the second biggest promotion in all of the wrestling world drop the belt to go work on NXT UK? They ain't letting him beat Walter.
Ain't nobody watching no goddamn NXT UK.
Nah, we watch Walter when he got a title match or when he on NXT TakeOver.
Hey, bro, I can't tell you the last time I watched NXT UK.
And it don't be bad. It's usually pretty good.
Where do we watch it at? That's the problem. I don't know where you watch it at.
You gotta watch it on Peacock now.
It's on there?
It's on there.
Bro, I don't know what's on there because that app is so trash. Like I watched NXT in your house, and we'll get to that 2020 last year. The one that happened last year, obviously, because it was 2020. But I went to it and I felt like I had to look for that because everything is in season. So I'm like, I go to NXT UK and what season do I look for?
Yeah. No. I don't know. I can't even tell you. But now the thing about the main event, I was surprised with. I thought it was Okada time. Nah, New Japan swerved us. They went with Takagi. And I ain't necessarily mad at it, but come on, bro.
You got to go that way. First of all, Okada and Joe and B got the same knee cartilage, 0. So you don't know how long Okada has, and he's our age. Like literally, he's our age or my age. But you don't know how
Takagi
long.
is 40.
Yeah, they love their old workers. That's what I do give them. They'll give their old workers like a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think this is his only first or second time having the new IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
This is his first time. The one thing I can say is he was killing it in Dragon Gate for years, apparently.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like to pay homage, and he's big in Japan. Like my knowledge of him pales in comparison to what the people of Japan probably think of him. Like he's probably like a huge star, and definitely is because he just won the title. But he's a huge star over there. So I don't want to disrespect him in that way. But yeah, I was surprised. But one thing I can say about New Japan is they are not afraid to steer away from Old Faithful.
Yeah, I think they try to give their vets their flowers in that sense. You're like, man, he's 40 years old. Give him the title shot. Because this year is the first year I can recall in a while where they actually kept switching the title back and forth. Obviously, because Will got hurt, and you went with that move earlier this year, but it seems like they switched the title in this past year more than they ever did before. I'm sorry, Ibushi had it, Naito had it,
Evil.
So yeah, they've been switching the title more than ever in the past year.
They have been hot shotting. And it doesn't even necessarily feel like hot shotting because they'll like let them run with the belt for like 3-4 months and then take it off. But that's a lot for New Japan because usually you get like 2 at most in a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the year before, it was Tanahashi, it was Jay White, it was Okada. So they've had 3 before. It's just I think this year is like, I mean, this part of this is due to injury, but it's been like 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fairly interested in this. I'm fairly curious to see where they go with this because Naito is the leader at LIJ. And I thought, man, what's Sonata got to do? Like, how much better he got to get? Because maybe he just don't got it.
I mean,
so maybe they don't see it.
Because I got to catch up, and I got a lot of time. Like I said, I'm not watching. I'd rather watch 6-hour pay-per-views, even though I'm trying to get off that narcotic with New Japan. I'd rather watch 6-hour pay-per-views than watch jazz games. So what's going on with Jay White? He in the contract negotiations again?
Yeah, it seemed like I don't understand, but I don't think he's necessarily re-upped. I think he's just might be there. Like,
and they trying to get the figures in order, right? Because I wanted him to come over here, but nah, just stay over there, bro.
Yeah.
because it's gonna
Like
be too many people trying to pull you in too many directions, and it ain't gonna go the way you it should go for you.
it's a little too busy over here for the big ones right now. Like
Yeah, well,
WWE is like, as much as I would love to see you in NXT, that's really it. That's really it. Um, because what was I gonna say? It like the main roster stuff. Like it's clear right now that Drew and Roman are the focus, and that I don't blame WWE for that. Vince loves his 6'5", 250-pound dudes.
mm-hmm.
So Jay White, you're really gonna be competing with Seth Rollins, and that's Roman's friend, bro. Pack it in.
Right.
Like, not only that, the New Day like him. Not saying that they wouldn't like you, but they already like him. That's Becky's husband. He got a
Mm-hmm.
lot more clout over there. So if you be cool with just being in matches with Cesaro on main event week in week out, hey man, go get that money. But you were right. Stay in New Japan.
Yeah, it's not. You can't benefit anything over here. You know what I mean? Like
No,
it doesn't benefit you at all.
no, just go there. Go back to. Is he from New Zealand or Australia? I forget.
Yes. No, no, I think New Zealand. I should look it up, but let's just say yes.
Okay, but no, that's really it when it comes to Jay White. Now Okada, on the other hand, it's time to come to NXT, bro. It's time to come to NXT. I don't need you on the main roster. I don't care about none of that. But it's time to come to NXT. It's time to have your 5-star NXT matches. It's time to go over with Johnny Gargano and realize, yo, I can do good 15-minute matches over here. I ain't got to go 38 minutes over here no more. We might need you to do it time in, time out, but you don't mean every night, right? No,
Yo,
why would we do that?
so this kind of goes back to the rumored thing that's going on about the New Japan acquisition. I'm
Or
messing up on that
partnership?
word. Yeah, let's just use that instead because I don't want to get bodied. All right, I'm trying to body myself by using a big word. But the New Japan WWE whole deal, and that was rumored, but it went fast. But at the same time, I heard something this past week or last week about that probably being true. But once again, it's all speculation. So we talked about it briefly, I think off air like last week or so, about how people think we're going to get these matches, Okada against Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, etc., like that. I think even if that doesn't happen, this deal doesn't happen because it's probably not going to go that way. It benefits, even though New Japan definitely doesn't need WWE and WWE doesn't need New Japan. It does benefit each other in a sense with Okada. I think I said it last year. Like, yeah, I mean, why not come to the WWE real quick, get some money and leave? It was rumored that he probably was going to try to go to Impact or something like that. Just
Yeah.
just because at this age, like, I mean, if he's doing it for the money, get you a bag in America, but that's a lot to ask too of these workers. Like, yeah, it's less on your body, but man, that's thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
Fly.
No,
That's far to fly.
it is. The only thing I would say is, I mean, come to WWE unless AEW and Impact will pay you a similar amount for less events. Because
Right, just
if
to
you,
have your health in order.
yeah, and like, dude, you're making more money because you don't have to travel as much. You can relax a little more. You can, really rehab your body in the ways you need to, because there are a few points that I like to agree with Jim Cornette about. It's one of the few that I actually agree with him on. He was talking about back in the day, and I hate the back in the day stuff. But once again, this is one of the few things I agree with. He's talking about back in the day we used to fake kick the shit out of each other. And you can see it. The punch would miss. Like, go back and watch some of that old. Go back and watch Steamboat versus Savage. You can see the punch is missing. You could see them purposely when they drop on each other. They don't really drop that hard on each other. They're not trying to hurt each other. They're not trying to knock the wind out of each other. But what you see is a crowd that is into it and believes every single moment of it. Which Cornette then pivoted to say, you look at now, people are really beating the shit out of each other. And the crowd is bored. Like, when you really think about that, it's New Japan matches out there where they get the polite clap and they are killing each other. Like, I was talking about this on the Double or Nothing thing. Cody and Anthony Ogogo were out there really slapping each other, and they gave that match the polite golf clap.
Right, they doing all these things just to get a pop, and sometimes it doesn't. It's just the subtle things that gets you pops.
Yeah,
you don't necessarily have to kill each other, but that's where we are because a lot of people are trying to integrate more so. I wouldn't say shoot because the UFC is popular more than ever. I don't know if people are trying to integrate a shoot style into pro wrestling these days, but I don't think that's going to work with a lot of these guys.
No. Whereas, like, one of the biggest pops on Double or Nothing was Kenny Omega hitting Pac with 5 belts. Pac didn't bleed. It wasn't real shots. But it was just the insanity of watching someone hit someone with 5 championship belts that it popped the crowd. It was clearly fake, but they loved it. It's clearly fake, but they loved it.
Right.
Whereas some of the more real stuff, sometimes they love it. But really, hey man, the important thing is just getting people to care. Like all those death matches and stuff, GCW, CCW with Nick Gage and the like. Yeah, it's violent. Yeah, they're really hurting each other. They also have the crowd into that. That's the crowd that's into that type of stuff. So, all I'm saying is, hey, maybe we should get back to a little bit more of like, this can be fake. You don't actually have to hit each other. You don't actually have to try and knock the dude out with a slap.
And at the end of the day, it's way more realistic than that Floyd versus Logan Paul fight.
That part. All right, before we get out of here, let's do NXT in your house predictions. Are you looking forward to this?
I need to look up the card because I have no idea what's going on, and that's why I said in the private chat, let's save it for next week. But if you want, we can do it right now. Why not? Let me just look up the card first.
Yeah, my fault. But no, it's just a quick one. It's only 5 matches because NXT don't overkill. But we got the North American champion Bronson Reed and MSK in a winner-take-all 6-man tag match with Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. Who you got?
Pass.
Okay. I'm going to take Bronson Reed and MSK because it's a little too early for them to lose the titles. And I feel like Legado might be ready for Raw.
Okay, yeah. I'm going with Bronson Reed, but yeah.
Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon. Why is it Raquel Gonzalez?
Because it's gonna be a good match, but it's Raquel's time for a while.
Yeah, like there's no way Ember Moon's winning that. But you're right, it will be a great match. This one, I hope is good too. We got Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li.
It's a wrestling match. I remember that Mae Young Classic, or not Mae Young Classic. Yeah, the Mae Young Classic, right?
Yeah.
They had
it's a wrestling.
Yeah, this is a wrestling match, and then
potential match of the night.
I think it will be.
Okay.
Xia Li out here, she doing her Hokage, not even Hokage. She doing that Nine Tails Fox thing with Naruto. So
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I'm looking for Malcolm Bivens to be out here supporting Zion Lee, but
me as well.
yeah. Anyways, the match I least care for the $1 million championship, Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. Uh, the
Lord,
winner is anyone who enjoys this.
all two of y'all.
Yeah, I don't hate Cameron Grimes, but it's clear that's a main roster personality.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles, so to speak, because I don't like
Yeah,
Cameron. I've never been a fan of Cameron Grimes. It's nothing against him. It's just he
yeah,
gives me all lives, capital
yeah.
vibes
And LA Knight, I just don't see it yet. Like,
at all.
yeah, like
Not even NWA.
honestly, he remind me of Barry Horowitz.
That's hilarious.
Like, you just look at him like, yeah, you would have been a jobber in like 1992,
No, he probably would have been over at that time.
maybe because he can talk a little bit.
Yeah, no,
But
no. He a lot of these people missed their time period. Like Cameron Grimes would have definitely been straight for mid South wrestling.
that, or he would have been great in the mid to late 2000s. Him and Carlito would have had classics over the U.S. title.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we get to the main event. The Puerto Rican Don Dada, Karrion Kross, defends his title against Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. What you got?
This is an elimination, right? Just a straight up fatal 5-way.
Yep.
How the
Sudden death.
how the fuck is they gonna make that work?
I'll make it work.
I think it's gonna be either it's gonna be really good or it's gonna be like too much dip on the shit.
Yeah, this match, if they hit the right amount of time, it could be great. But this is a match where you can easily go overboard. So I hope they don't go overboard.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of camera angles. It's about to be OD.
Yeah.
Carrying Clan Cross for the win.
Yeah, this looks like something to legitimize him as a champion. Because apparently beating Finn Balor twice didn't work for the audience. Which
But if he doesn't go over, that means he's getting called up. Because I can see him out of everybody else being called up like ASAP.
yeah. I mean he has the gimmick for it. And he would fit well on Raw.
That's what he has the gimmick. He has the beliefs. Him and Jackson Ryder would be a hell of a tag team.
Yep. Yep. That's all we can say about that one right there. AJ Styles would love to have him aboard.
Yeah. He won't be saying that's cap. Nah, bring them on, my brother. That's what he would probably say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably go Karrion Kross here too. I would love to see Adam Cole go back with it because it might be better with Adam Cole. But Kross here because I mean you got what the four best you got two of the best technical wrestlers in here in O'Reilly and Dunn. You got the most complete wrestler on the roster in Gargano, and you have Adam Cole, the best talker. So the thing that about this match that has been lacking is, I mean, the build was basically all of last week and this week. But Cross's promos haven't really wowed me. His in-ring work is good. I don't want to misrepresent that. Because his match with Balor on NXT was good and on TakeOver was good. So I can't sit here and pretend like he's not good in the ring. So we'll see. You got 5 of the best workers, 5 people who can carry him. If they can't carry him to a good match, it's time to go to the main roster.
I think that's the whole point.
Yeah. Like, there's still some stuff you clearly got to work on because shout out to the jobber tiers on this one. They were talking about why NXT people don't work on the main roster, and their main thing was you got to make your character bigger. Vince is all about big. He's about excess. This is Trump's friend, you got to remember. They're all about over the top. So,
exactly. So
yeah. So if you can get your character over the top and you can figure out a way to make that thing even bigger, then hey man, you got something here. But yeah, I think this is an easy one to call. I really hope the Cameron Grimes LA Knight match goes on first. Are we really about to see 2 mid ladder matches back to back on NXT takeovers?
yes, because that one with non-consensual Devlin was
Yeah,
horrible. That's the
yeah.
worst. That's the worst ladder match I've ever seen.
And it's not your fault, Santos Escobar.
No, not at
At
all.
all. It's 100% Jordan Devlin. Like Santos Escobar, I done seen you enough to know that you cold as hell. I know who your family is. You cold. But yeah, man. I don't know. I just hope it's some good wrestling. But other than that, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. I ain't got nothing funny to say. I thought I was gonna have something funny to say. I ain't got nothing funny to say.
I
I'm
got
just like
something.
it's like Bruce. I don't even
Right.
have no closing joke. I'll just walk off.
Walk out just walk out the stage. All right, y'all.